Okay. All right. Where does it say? Let me copy that and send that here. All right. Hello, everyone. As you guys are coming into the room, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Nurse Sam. All right. I am your number one resource for all things creative, fun, and learning when it comes to like nursing school. Okay. I help make studying fun. I help make learning nursing school content fun so that you retain it longer and you're able to recall it quicker. Okay. So with that being said, if you are here, that means you are here for the Next Gen NCLEX Day 1 breakdown. All right, so all this week, we're going to be talking about the next generation NCLEX. Okay, so I keep doing this wrong. 1 second. But how are you guys doing? Please introduce yourselves. Tell me who you are, where you're from, or what city you're in, and what semester of nursing school you're in. Actually, just give me what program you're in. All right. All right, so now let's go ahead and put up our presentation for today. All right, if you guys follow me on that other app, I made a post earlier today, and I also made it on Twitter, but I made a post earlier today about asking you guys to take a poll and let me know what NCLEX or what version of the NCLEX you're going to be taking. Either the current NCLEX or the new next generation NCLEX. Okay, and today we're going to be talking about pretty much what to expect with the next generation NCLEX, what's going to be different, what's going to be the same, and how to prepare for the next generation NCLEX. All right, it's also called like the NGN for short or next gen NCLEX. Either of those work, but we're still talking about like the same thing. Okay, so while I am, don't worry about Mona Lisa, child. That's Mona Lisa, right? All right. All right, guys. Let me put that here. All right, so make sure you guys share this live with anyone that you know, like any of your classmates, anybody that you know is in nursing school and will be taking the NCLEX after April 1st of next year, which is 2023. Okay, does anybody know anything about the next gen NCLEX? We've been hearing like little tidbits here and there, all right, on different apps and in different situations and scenarios. But do we really know what to expect when it comes to the next gen NCLEX? I don't even have to take the NCLEX, and it took a while for me to kind of gather enough information to be able to deliver that to you guys and teach that to you guys. Anything that I know, you guys will know. All right. Okay, so so for this whole entire week, for Black Friday week, as I'm calling it, like I said, we're going to do next gen NCLEX. We're deep diving into the next gen NCLEX. All right, so every day this week, minus Thursday, which is, Thanksgiving, we're going to go live. I'm going to go live right here on TikTok at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time daily. All right, tonight's going to be the kickoff. It's our first night. And tonight we're talking about, it's the overview of the next gen NCLEX. And like I said, and what to expect. Okay, tomorrow we'll be talking about, I'll cover that later. All right, so let me look and see if you guys are saying anything. If you guys have questions as I go on, please just go ahead and drop them down below. But if not, I'm just going to go ahead and just start the presentation. This replay will be live on YouTube and will be available on YouTube. Once again, free of charge. Just give me a few days to upload everything up to NCLEX. So once again, it's best if y'all come to the live so you don't miss anything. Okay? All right, so earlier today, in addition to me posting that poll, I also dropped a brand new freebie. Okay, and it's basically a basic overview and a guide of what to expect on the Next Gen NCLEX. Okay, it's about like a 4-page guide. It's going to give you like a little bit here and there about the Next Gen, but that is a great supplemental tool to have while you come to our Next Gen NCLEX live for the rest of the week, because we're going to be really going deeply into that and kind of expanding on that more every time we go live. All right, so tonight's, like I said, the first night. We're going to talk about the overview of the Next Gen NCLEX, or the NGN. Someone said, how long would you tell new nurse to wait before traveling? Like at least a year. At least a year. But in order to be able to travel, you got to take your NCLEX. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. Once again, if y'all have any questions, please drop it down below. All right, so let me pull up mine. And let me pull up our first thing. Can y'all see that? Oh, boom, right here. Oh, I forgot it cuts off. All right, first things first. All right, next generation NCLEX. That is different from the current NCLEX, which is, I don't think there's a name for it. It's just literally the current NCLEX. But the next gen NCLEX is going to be like it's a completely new style of testing. All right, that's why they called it next generation. It's like 2.0 in this. All right, it's not our traditional, like everyone else. I took the current NCLEX, okay, even though I took and passed my NCLEX September of 2014. Yeah, September of 2014 is when I took the NCLEX, and it was just the current style of NCLEX, the current version. Now, mind you, the NCLEX is created by the NCSBN, who about like every 3 years, they like do research and they change it and they tweak it just a little bit, just to make sure that it's pretty much up to date, I guess. And the NCSBN, by the way, is the National Council of State Boards of Nursing. All right. Now, every 3 years, once again, they like pretty much send out a survey almost, and that's to evaluate knowledge, skills, and abilities of that a newly licensed nurse needs. All right, they use those results and analyze it, and that's when they make any tweaks to whatever NCLEX version. Okay. Now, why are we changing it this time to something 2.0 and not just a little nip and tuck here and there? Absolutely not. The NCLEX is getting a whole BBL. Okay, it's getting a whole BBL. All right. NCSBN decided to be Dr. Miami and just chop, tuck to the NCLEX. And you know why? So remember when I said that through about like every 3 years they like survey employers and nursing facilities to kind of see what abilities new nurses need. And in one of the most recent, or the last change, I guess you can say, about 80% of nursing employers said that they were unsatisfied with new grad nurses and their ability to make appropriate clinical decisions. All right, they said that they lack clinical judgment, and they don't have pretty much like the faith, and they don't really believe and trust them to make sound and appropriate clinical judgment or decisions based off of clinical judgment. All right, so that lack of clinical judgment is really, really big. All right, that's why we're seeing an increase in client errors. Okay, it feels like in the past, like maybe 2 years, it's been like an uproar of like client errors. And you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen buku stories about it in the news, on TikTok, on, Facebook, whatever, Instagram, Redonda. Okay. The other one that's in Pennsylvania, the LPN that was in Pennsylvania, I forgot her name. I think it starts with a D. Can't remember. Please let me know what her name is, because I am having a brain fart right now, and I almost didn't remember Redonda. But these client care errors, there's just been like this increase and this spike within the past few years. So when the NCSBN decided to kind of survey everybody and be like, yo, what's going on? That's why that was like, oh, okay. Basically, they're saying y'all don't read. Not y'all. But average majority of the newly licensed nurses, like I said, they've been effing up. They've just been effing up. And it's, especially after the vid, okay, the CO vid came in, everyone kind of wanted to be a nurse, to either help out genuinely, or they want to hop on that money train. Okay, it is what it is. So a lot of people were just doing what they needed to do to just go ahead and get licensed so they can make that money. That's why, like, right after they get licensed, a lot of people were like trying to become travel nurses to make that money. And it's not even though it's about the money, it's not about the money when it comes to that stuff. Like, you really have clients and patients. You have their life in your literal hands. So you have to know why you're doing things. You have to know what to look out for. And based on that last survey, it's giving y'all don't, not y'all know what I mean. It's giving other people don't. Newly licensed nurses, they don't know really what to do. Okay? And that is due to a lack of clinical judgment. All right? That's like the name of the game when it comes to the next generation NCLEX. Clinical judgment. They are testing you. All right. It says, well, let me see what y'all saying. So do you think the new gen NCLEX will have a higher failure rate? Mouse 1215, that's a good question. Personally, I'm not sure. And it's not because the questions are going to be harder. The content's going to be the absolute same. Like, diabetes is still going to be diabetes on that NCLEX, this NCLEX, the next one. All right. Like, you're not supposed to give, digoxin if the heart rate's under 60 beats. That's going to be the same important, like, nursing intervention on this NCLEX, that NCLEX, and the other. So that's what I mean when I say the content is going to be the same. The strategy and breakdown of it is going to be different. Okay. I'm a school now and the questions are so hard. The foundation for being good wasn't built during the vid time. That's true. But with that spike of people coming in and not really having good motives to being a nurse, a lot of them took the easy way out. And I'm not saying that's not everybody, but just based on the results of that analysis and that survey that the NCSBN does, that's what they figured out. That's what they analyzed, and that's the results that they came up with based on that. Mama Becca said, I'm worried about that as a summer 23 graduate. The case study questions are a little tough, but it's to make you use your knowledge. I'm ready for it. Correct, Ashley Nicole. I was just about to say that. Now, when it comes to the changes and what's really the difference between the current NCLEX and the next NCLEX, let me just say who's going to be taking what. If you're taking your NCLEX before April 1st, 2023, so how many days is it in March? 31 or 30, whatever. The day before April 1st, whether it's the March 30th or 31st, who knows? If you're taking it on or before that date, you're going to be taking the current NCLEX. Okay, so everything that you kind of see out is reflective of the content and strategies, test taking strategies behind the current NCLEX. If you're taking your NCLEX on or after April 1st, 2023, you're going to be taking the next gen NCLEX. And a lot of what a lot of schools are doing, a lot of programs are doing, what they're doing is kind of slowly like incorporating like the new types of questions so you can kind of be exposed to it so you can practice really. And also they're trying to make the nursing school exams kind of reflective of the changes that you'll see on the next gen NCLEX. And a lot of that's going to be in the way the information is going to be delivered to you so you can find the right answer. Okay. Do you feel like ATI changes for NGN are beneficial? ATI changes? What do you mean for? Like just the ATI books? Not ATI Ts, but just like the ATI books. Do I feel like that? I'm not completely, well, actually, yeah, I am sure. Because like I said, the content's not changing, just the strategy. All right, so it's really a strategy that you guys really need to understand what it is, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, how many questions are going to be next gen? I'm about to tell you right now. What if you take the NCLEX after April, but you finish nursing school before they change the NCLEX? I was thinking about that. You're still gonna, if you're taking the NCLEX after April, you're still gonna be taking the new exam. All right. So even if you graduated, previously, before or during the current NCLEX, and let's say either somebody waited a while to take their NCLEX or waited till after April to take their NCLEX, or maybe somebody failed and then they have to take the retake in April. That sucks. They would have to take the current and the next gen. Ooh, that sucks. But if you did not take the current at all and you just have to prepare for the next gen, that's why we're here. That's why we're going to have the week that we're going to have this week. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the next slide where I kind of tell you guys, I'll show you guys a little bit more about the NCLEX new generation. Sorry, well, here we go. Like I said, what exactly will be changing on the NCLEX? All right, strategy will be the same. Like I said, no, I'm sorry, strategy will be different while the content stays the same. Okay. Maternity, mental health, fundamentals, pharmacology, everything that you learn within those classes, that's going to be the same. That's not changing. Okay. Like I said, what will be changing is the strategy. All right. Now, when it comes to strategy, they're introducing new item types and question item types to really test you on your clinical judgment, not just comprehension, but your clinical judgment. And the thing about clinical judgment is, in order for you to make a sound clinical decision using that clinical judgment, you have to understand and comprehend the content. Okay, so that's why a lot of these question types are not just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay, they're like, there's sections, there's parts. Okay, and we're gonna get into that. Let me see what y'all saying. I'm getting some questions. That's why. So you have to pass both if you fail the current, or you just. No, Danielle, I'm not saying you have to pass both. I'm saying whatever NCLEX you have to take, depending on when. If it's on or after April 1st, you're taking the next gen. If it's before then, from between now and then, you're going to be taking the current. So some people graduate, like now, but they're not scheduled to take their NCLEX until after April. So that means that the NCLEX that they'll be taking will be the next gen NCLEX. Okay. You just got to pass one. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the different types of questions. Somebody asked how many questions do we have on the next gen? And I believe it's 85 to 150 total questions. All right, that's how many questions will be on the next gen. So the current NCLEX, we have 75 to 145 questions. And that's for both the NCLEX PN and the NCLEX RN. Okay, the last major change we had to the NCLEX was during like the COVID times. And that's when they had to change I believe they had to change the time, how long like we had to take the NCLEX. And it also, I'm not sure about that one, but it also definitely changed the amount of questions that we were given. Because before it was like, I think practical nurses were like 85 to 145, and then registered nurses was 75 to 145. Oh, but after the during COVID times, all right, they decided to just knock everything down to 75 to 145 questions. So that's the current NCLEX. The new one, you'll have 85 to 150 total questions. So now you're going to be having, people post things like, oh my God, I passed my NCLEX in 85 questions. That's going to be the new minimum now. Mind you, it's a great flex to be like, oh my God, I passed in the minimum amount of questions it takes to determine if, I'm competent enough to be a nurse. If I have my clinical judgment, it's a great bragging rights. It's a great Instagram status, like caption. It's all that. but it's not important in the long term. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, that's not important. I know it's a great flex moment. I passed the minimum questions, so super flex for me, but that doesn't, as long as you pass, a win is a win. A win is a win, a win is a win. I don't care what y'all say, a win is a win. Okay, but it'll be 85 to 150 total questions. And of that 85 to 150 questions, it's going to be a mix between new item types that we're going to go over and old/current item types. Okay. Wait, somebody asked a question. It might be 206. You might be talking about T's. You might be talking about T's. Let me see do I offer anything for HESI? For HESI entrance exam, basically the T's stuff. If it's for the exit HESI, it's my Ultimate Nursing School bundle and my NCLEX stuff, because that's what the HESI is preparing you for, the NCLEX. So content is still the same. All right. Let me see what y'all saying. How's the NCLEX graded? After like 100%, are you bored of passing? You never know. Somebody said, Mal said, if you're getting up to like the 140th question, are you like bordering between passing and failing? Maybe, maybe not. But just because you are getting up there in questions, it doesn't mean that you're doing, it doesn't mean you're about to fail. Okay, it just means that due to the CAT or the CAT style question, which is computer adapted testing, all right, which basically means the questions that you get are as a result or a direct result of how you perform on the previous questions are the same type. So if they give you like a mental health question and you get it wrong, they're going to give you another mental health question, just to kind of determine your comprehension of the material. So, basically with the question types and whether or not you're getting, whether or not you get 75 or 80, or in this case 85 or the 150 range, that just means like in 85 questions you were able to let the CAT testing of the NCLEX determine that you were competent enough and in your clinical judgment to pass the NCLEX and be licensed. Okay. The higher that number goes, that just means that maybe you got some bad questions, but they're doing everything they can just to make sure that they're giving you every fair shot to let them know that you know what you're talking about, that you are competent, that you do have clinical judgment. All right. So I know people that have gotten 145 questions. They have gotten literally every question and they still passed. I know people that got in the 75 questions and failed. So don't let that get you. Just do your absolute best on both types, any type of the NCLEX, current or next. Okay. All right. So next thing, and we're going to come back to this slide specifically. Wait, not that one. Here we go. All right. So remember I said that some of the changes were going to be a lot of the major changes would be question types and how the information is going to be given to you. Case studies is going to be one of the main changes. All right. Now, when you hear case study, don't let that scare you, but I'm going to be real. I did see some of those practice questions, and I'm not saying it's more difficult. It's just more work. Okay. The current NCLEX, you get a cute little question. Like if y'all have never come to my NCLEX Jeopardy, or if you have, maybe go back to my page and you'll see some of the questions that I post, but you'll have like a cute little small paragraph, a couple sentences maybe, either giving you like a small scenario like, oh, a 32-year-old patient came in with stomach pain and bleeding. The nurse knows that the priority would be to, and then you get your answers. You then get your answer choices. On the current NCLEX, you have either multiple choice. That's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. You pick one, go about your business, or you'll get select all that apply, which is usually up to like 6 questions or 6 answer choices. And it can go and range from 1 being correct to all 6 being correct. And the hard part, or the difficult part about select all that apply, especially in the current version, is that it's either right or wrong. they meant it when they said select all that apply, not select some that apply. Okay, they really meant that. Petty, I know, but yeah, they don't give partial credit for the current. All right, the current NCLEX. They don't give partial credit. That's why whenever we have select all that apply questions, we usually call them Satan questions, because select all that apply is SATA, and we would just add that in because select all that apply questions are not of this earth and not of the Lord. So people usually struggle with select all that apply previously. People taking the next gen is going to have just a little bit more to struggle, not struggle with, but a little bit more to kind of digest and figure out how to take these different question types. All right. Once again, these we're going to have new question types. We're really like 15 new types, new test item types. Let me say that. All right. Majority of those are going to be what they call NGN case studies or unfolding case studies. And that's basically when, once again, you get a case study. Okay. And that's gonna be much longer than a few sentences. It's usually like a short little bio, short little paragraph, because you're getting everything about that patient. Okay. It's giving you like a legit clinical scenario. And that's why with the next gen NCLEX, they're testing you on that clinical judgment so they can, be rest assured that you are able to still act appropriately in any type of clinical scenario, whether it's an expected, scenario or it's an unexpected scenario. All right. It's up to you as the nurse, RN or LPN, to determine what to do next based on whatever scenario. Okay. For the next NCLEX, would you be updating your NCLEX study guide? For the I'm basically making another NCLEX study guide, and that'll be available pretty much after this week, because everything we go through this week is going to be about that strategy. But I will give you guys, we're going to have a new a new study kit for that new NCLEX strategy. All right. It will be in addition to the current one, because I still have some people that are taking the current NCLEX up until that point. And then I have a lot of people that are taking it after, when it's going to be the next gen NCLEX. So in addition to the current one, I'm just going to add the next gen strategy. Okay. But during these lives, this is all the information. Okay. But that's just the study kit will be something that you can have with you, and actually print out and offer you just a little bit more. Okay. When does the next gen NCLEX start? April 1st, 2023. Okay. Now, as far as clinical judgment, I know we keep tossing that word around. Specifically, and by definition, this is how the NCSBN defines clinical judgment. Okay. It's they define it as the observed outcome of critical presenting situations, identify or prioritize client concern, and generate the best possible evidence-based solutions in order to deliver safe client care. That's what the NCSBN defines clinical judgment as. Okay. Now, they came up with this model for you to test and exercise and strengthen your clinical judgment skills, which we'll get in. And it's called the 6 NCJMM cognitive skills. And we're going to get into that in just a second. Hold on. Does anyone have a stubborn group for LPN? Doesn't matter if it's LPN or RN. Y'all still gotta take the the NCLEX. It's going to be over the same stuff. But if you want a study group, we have them on Thursdays. All's group right here on TikTok. But let's go ahead and let's further get into the question item types. All right, so in addition to the NGN case studies, which is going to be like the unfolding case studies, you're also going to have standalone items. Now, we're really going to get deeper into these question item types, and I'm going to actually show you examples. What day is it? What day do we cover that? I think tomorrow. No, Wednesday. Tomorrow we're going to break down how to develop clinical judgment, and then Wednesday we're breaking down the new NGN item types. Thursday is Thanksgiving, free day, so we can eat. And then Friday we're going to talk about how to prepare for the next gen NCLEX and how to exercise your clinical judgment by doing practice NGN questions. Okay, so now the new item question types that we're going to have within those test item types. So remember, each case study, and I'm going to tell you specifically what a case study is. Wait for it. All right, these are two types of case studies, okay? The NGN case study, which is the unfolding, and the standalone, all right? Both of those are going to present a realistic clinical scenario, and it's going to include a part of like the medical record, the EMR. Well, it's not going to be EMR, but yeah, the medical record, where it's going to give you like labs, vitals, diagnostics, whatever. It's going to be like tabbed, kind of like how I have 140 tabs on my screen right now. It's going to be like that, but like 3 to 5 or something like that. Like I said, those are just going to present to you like a realistic scenario. And that's basically to make sure that y'all, and these are common scenarios that no matter kind of like what type of nurse you're about to be, like you're most likely going to experience these scenarios. So whether it's like diabetes, hypertension, stuff like that. But they're giving it to you in a case study format. Okay. Now, when it comes to the actual like question type, it's going to be like split screen. One question you're going to have, one portion of the screen, you're going to have the actual question. Okay. And then the other half, they're going to give you your medical record. Okay. Thank you for this life. You're welcome. Yes, the life must eat it. Oh, absolutely. So yes, now of those case studies, all right, you're also going to have new question item types. All right. Now, within those case studies, and you're going to have about 3. Yes, there will be 3 NGN case studies, and each case study comes with 6 questions. Okay, so on your NCLEX, you're going to have 18 questions related to case studies, if that makes sense. NGN case studies. Okay, so every time you have that question, it's just, like I said, it's not one wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, just one and done. Each question, okay, especially for the unfolding case studies, that's going to take you like through a scenario that's unfolding, which is why it's called like an unfolding case study. And that's basically taking you through different points in time. Okay. And each of those 6 questions is going to represent one of the 6 cognitive skills that we're going to go over in just a second. The standalone items right here, all right, that presents client at one point in time. Okay, just a standalone in time. That's going to be the standalone. And for this one particular place in time, that's what they're going to be testing you on for that patient. Anyway, once again, the unfolding is going to be a series of points within that, client's care, whether that's upon entry, after 3 hours, after the procedure, then at discharge. Like, it's going through different phases, so you know how to appropriately make decisions based on that client's individual and specific care. Okay. This, like I said, the standalone items, it presents clients at one point in time. It's gonna be about 7 that are expected of the standalone items. And like I said, of those NGN case studies, you're going to have 6 questions each. And that's going to be a mixture of the question types down here. All right. We all know multiple choice. Okay. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. However, on the next gen NCLEX, these are going to be some of the changes. We're going to go through it in depth on Wednesday. But for multiple choice, you're not going to have just, and that's a single response question. You're not going to have just 4 options. All right. On the next gen NCLEX, you're going to have maybe, as many as 10. Okay. It's not going to be just 4. You can have anywhere up to 10. All right. And it's still going to be single response. All right. Now, those single response questions, you do not get partial credit. It's either right or wrong. Okay. Now on there's something else called the matrix, which is still a multiple choice type question, but matrix multiple choice, that's going to give you a clinical scenario and in selected client data. Someone said they doing too much. Period. Matrix, it's going to give you provide you a clinical scenario and selected client data. Okay. Now when it says matrix, like that's basically like a table. Okay, and it's going to have at least 4 rows and 3 columns. Okay, and those 3 columns, we'll talk about that later, whatever. But that's what the matrix format. Once again, still single response. Okay, but you're going to have different parts of it in a row where you have to pretty much select that one option that applies. Okay, have you guys ever taken, this is an example of matrix format. Have you guys ever taken, like when you applied for a job and they make you take that annoying like not personality test, but the test that they make you take before you can come in for an interview, where it's asking you like, if you saw somebody get physical on the sales floor, thank you, assessment, thank you. What would you do? When it's not like typed response. It was like, y'all know what I'm trying to say? No. Bad example. I apologize. A good example is when you're doing like a review for maybe like a course or something like that, and it was like, how do you feel about the client's attitude? The presenter's attitude, and it's like good, really good, unsure, or neutral, bad, horrible, like that. That's basically, that style is basically what they mean by matrix. Okay, you have different rows, okay, but all the columns are either like likely, most likely, neutral, less likely, not at all. That's basically how it's going to be. Not those specific categories. It's usually going to be something like an example that I saw was like you had a client statement, understanding, and then no understanding. And then the actual rows, those were the columns. The actual rows were like different client statements. You feel me? Different client statements. And you had to choose, each of those client statements, you had to choose whether or not that statement indicated that the client knew what they were talking about or understood your teachings or did not. Survey or questionnaires. Thank y'all so much because I was struggling. But yes, that's an example of that type. But once again, we'll really deep dive into the question types on Wednesday. Okay. Now, when it comes to multiple response, all right, we don't just have select all and apply. We have different new types of select all and apply, or multiple response. Let me say that. One is select all and apply, which we all know and hate. Okay. But instead of up to 6 choices, you're going to have 5 to 10 choices max. Okay? And it's still going to be, it can be as little as one of them correct or as many as all of them correct. But instead of, like I said, 6 questions or 6 options, you're going to have 5 to 10 options to choose from. All right? Multiple response, that's where you're going to get your partial credit. Okay, that's when you get your partial credit, especially when it's like matrix style, especially gonna get that. Okay, but yes, 5 to 10 choices. Someone said absolutely not. Ooh wee. All right. Now, the correct response, once again, can be one of them, some of them, or just all of them. It makes me nauseous. Girl, I just want to deliver the message so y'all can know. It's once we get into practicing, it's really not all that bad, because as long as you understand the content, then you're good. But it is an OD extra way of taking what we already know and really making sure we know it. Like it definitely is team too much, but whatever. All right, we're gonna have something called select N. All right, this is basically like select all that apply, except the number that you have to actually choose that are correct is specified. So like select N, that N is going to be replaced by a specific number. And it's going to be like, examples that I saw would be, once again, select all that apply. So you'll have 5 to 10 choices that you're going to choose from. And then the question will be, choose 3 client findings that are of immediate concern to the nurse. Select 4 priority health concerns that the client is experiencing in the client scenario that they give you. Or select 5 physician orders that the nurse would anticipate for this client. So that's what they mean by select N. You're not just selecting whatever you think. They're just going to specify the number that you have to get. All right. Now with those specific numbers, they won't let you submit it if it's, not complete. If it says that you need to choose 3, you can't submit it if it's 2, and you can't try to choose 4 options. If it's 3, it's 3 for select N. All right. You have something else called grouping. All right. Grouping, that's once again similar to select all that apply, except that the options are presented in like in categories or by groups. Hence grouping. You'll have like 5 rows in 2 columns. Okay. Each category has 2 to 4 options per row with at least 1 correct answer. All right. Multiple response is going to be partial credit. Single response is all or nothing. I have group study on Thursdays at 7, but not this Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So we're gonna have the practice with the sample questions on Friday at 7 for this week. Okay, Friday at 7 for this week is when we're gonna have our study group specifically for the NCLEX the next gen NCLEX types of questions. All right, and then you have a matrix type, just the same type of matrix with multiple choice. When you think of matrix, you just want to think about like a table. You're still going to have that same type, but within multiple response. All right, you're going to have drop down, drag and drop, and highlight. Okay, now when you highlight is the next gen's version of hotspot. Okay, so instead of you getting like a figure or like it usually is like anatomical figures or something like that as far as the current NCLEX. But when it comes to highlighting, you have to highlight, literally like highlight with your mouse, the information that they're asking you for. Okay, so it's not like, oh, just point to the urethra. It's not that. It's like select the client findings that and identify whatever question or whatever. But that's usually in text format or table format. Okay, if it's table format, then you have to like select the different, it's going to be categories and like columns and rows, and you have to select whichever one's appropriate. And then if it's text format, just picture yourself like getting a question, and you have to literally take your mouse and highlight whatever important parts that they're asking you for. All right, usually it's like clinical findings, what clinical manifestations support this diagnosis of whatever. All right, and it's up to you to identify what those clinical manifestations are in that text. So that's what highlighting is. Okay. You probably missed when I said on Friday we're going to have study group. On Friday we're going to have study group to review the question types for the next gen. Other than that, it's usually every Thursday at 7 p.m. That's when we do NCLEX Jeopardy, which is our group study group. Okay. All right. Now, those were the question types. Like I said, when it comes to on Wednesday, we're going to go into like actual specifics, and I'm going to show you examples of how they're going to look. Okay. Oh, I forgot to put standalone items. For standalone items, you're going to have bow tie, that's definitely too much, but it's not as bad as it seems, especially when you see it. We'll talk about it Wednesday. So you're going to have bow tie and trend items. And trend items are basically, it's similar to the unfolding case studies because it's a clinical scenario presenting data, over time. But it can use any of these test items. It can use drop down, drag and drop close, highlight, multiple response, select N, multiple choice matrix. It can use any of those question types. Okay. Now let's get into the actual. Someone say, what is Wednesday? Wednesday is when we're going to go into the actual next gen NCLEX question types and item types. We're going to really dive deeper into it and get a little bit more detailed. And I'm going to provide you with like examples so you can kind of visually see how it's going to look. And we're going to go through some answers or practice questions on Friday. Okay. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about clinical judgment and the 6 cognitive skills and how to use that model. But speaking of that, all right, like I said, we already talked about the 85 to 150 total questions. When it comes to measuring clinical judgment, the NCSBN came up with a model that they called the 6 NCJMM cognitive skills model. And that basically means the 6 NCSBN clinical judgment measurement model. That's what NCJMM stands for. All right, so these 6 cognitive skills right here is going to be, are going to be how they're going to test you on your clinical judgment. That's how they're going to measure. So all those different question types and item types that we were just talking about before, in order to answer those, all right, they want you to go through this model right here so you can basically identify whatever the answer is going to be. All right, in order for you to actually strengthen your clinical judgment, what the NCSBN is saying is that you need to use these, 6 cognitive skills right here. You need to go through that. And if you go through this, there's no way you can lack clinical judgment. Okay, this is clinical judgment. All right, it's recognize cues, analyze cues, prioritize hypotheses, generate solutions, take action, and evaluate outcomes. All right. I don't know about y'all, but when I first read through those cognitive skills, I was like, this sounds very similar to the nursing process. It sounds very similar to the nursing process. Our ADPI, assess, diagnose, plan, implement, evaluate. Okay? Assessing and analyzing cues sounds a lot like assessment, right? Am I tripping? Is it just me? Go back to what they say. All right, this is, like I said, this is what they want you to go through, what they want you to think of when it comes to answering those questions. Okay, for recognize cues, that means identify what's most relevant and what matters most. It's giving priority. Okay, y'all know enough about priority. Take those same, skills when it comes to that and, you know, hold that dear and clutch that when it comes to recognizing cues, because it's basically the same thing. All right. Now, when they say cues, that basically means, you know, your clinical findings, your assessment data. That's what the cues are going to mean. All right. So you're going to find those cues by completing your assessment. You feel what I'm saying? So you got to recognize those cues, and then you have to analyze cues. Analyzing cues, you got to ask yourself, what does this data mean? Okay. Prioritize hypotheses. You know, hypotheses is plural for hypothesis, but okay. That's, you know, you asking yourself, where do I start when I have this data? So where do I start? What that basically means is that you want to start with the most important, what matters the most. So your priority, once again. All right. So in order for you to prioritize the hypothesis, you would have to, like, of the client problems that they give you, you have to figure out which ones are of utmost importance and then take that and run with it. All right. It's giving care plan. Am I lying? It's giving care plan. Okay. That's basically your nursing diagnosis. Prioritize your hypotheses. What's of the utmost importance? Okay. How am I where do I start when it comes to prioritizing what the client's main problem is and what I should attack first, as far as, you know, from the nursing standpoint. Okay. Generate solutions. What can I do? What is it that I can do? Intervention wise, it's giving intervention. Okay. Think about all the possible actions that you can do to either help resolve or at least manage whatever problem that your this client is presented with. Okay. You got to identify those nursing interventions specific to this client. Okay. They specifically said that they're, like, hammering down on, you know, making sure that students understand, or newly grad nurses understand, that when it comes to the NCLEX, whether current or next gen, it is specific to the individual and the client care. So that just tells me that they were probably getting a lot of, like, you know, routine umbrella answers. But students/new nurses weren't really taking, you know, that knowledge and applying it to that specific individual client. All right. So that's why when it comes to generate solutions, you have to do that specific to the client, which is why they're including those client scenarios, those case studies. Okay. So this is your patient in word form. They are giving you your patient in word form. So they want you to act specifically with the information that they're giving you and they're presenting in front of you. Okay. When it comes to take action, like I said, what will I do? Now that you prioritize what interventions, or came up with the interventions and planned the interventions, add pie. All right. Now you got to take action / implement. All right. Take action is the implement equivalent in the nursing process. All right. What am I going to do? What will I do? You know, how am I going to implement those interventions that I came up with? Okay. And then last but not least, you have your evaluate outcomes. It's pretty straightforward. Did your actions help? Did your interventions help? Were they effective? What is that in ADPI? Evaluation. All right. You're still evaluating whether or not something's effective or not effective, because depending on whatever that is, that's going to help you determine what your next steps are. Are we getting better, staying the same, or getting worse? We're evaluating our outcomes so we know how to moving forward. I said, please give the coupon for me. Download the app, 80% off. Specifically for those that have the app. It's app only for today only. Well, I don't say today only. Starting today, but only for app users. So if you want 80% off, whatever it is, get the app. Get the app. You'll see the code within the app, not on the website, but within the app. The app is called the Nurse Sam. Free to download. Have at it. Okay, 80% off. An additional 80% off whatever you see. And 30% off physical items. So if you want 30% off study gummies or 30% off shirts or anything physical, you can use that code as well. Okay, that'll be in the nurse merch section. All right, so those are your 6 cognitive skills. We're really dive deeper into that Wednesday. No, tomorrow. This one's tomorrow. We're going to dive deeper into that tomorrow, so you can really understand how to really exercise and use those cognitive skills, like what that actually means, what to look out for, you know, different test taking strategies, but specifically for the next gen. Okay. Let's get into, we did that. Boom. Now, last thing that we're going to cover for today is how to prepare for the next gen. All right. The tutorial for next gen is here on the app. What do you mean tutorial? What do you mean tutorial? I'm not sure what you mean. The card is left. But yes, how to prepare for the NGen. The lives like this one, that's going to be on TikTok. It's going to be on TikTok. On the app is going to be like that's if you want to purchase any study kits, any merch or anything like that. Or if you want to do NCLEX Jeopardy, the mobile game, you get NCLEX Jeopardy exclusive in the app. Okay, but for the next 5 days, I'm going to put up the schedule right after this. It'll be on TikTok live. Okay, now how to prepare for the next gen NCLEX. All right, like I said, strategy is going to be different, but content's going to be the same. So the best way to prepare for the NGN is the best way to prepare for the current NCLEX. Practice. Practice makes progress, and practice, I'm not going to say practice makes perfect, but practice makes progress. And the best way to either study for your courses in nursing school, or if you're reviewing for the NCLEX, or reviewing for honestly whatever test, the best way to really have like effective studying is to actually take practice questions. You know, NCLEX or new next gen NCLEX style questions, practice questions. You want to start to expose yourself to those. As far as where you can find those, we're gonna go over. I'm gonna give you guys some on Friday, okay? And that's gonna be live. We're gonna go through that live. But if you want to, even after that or before that, if you want to take your own like practice tests, just do a quick Google search, or invest in one of those next gen books. I know there's one from, I don't have it in front of me. There's one from Elsevier, I believe. I'll post it later, but I think it's one from Elsevier. And the thing with Elsevier that I love about Elsevier, no matter what their books are, is they have questions both in the book and in the online section, which is amazing and I love, for both the current NCLEX and the next gen NCLEX. All right, so this is an example of one of their books, one of their review books for the current NCLEX. All right, and this is a great review, content review. Even if you're taking the next gen NCLEX, they don't pay me for this, but I highly encourage this comprehensive examination. It just cuts out the fluff. It gives you what you actually need to know specifically for the NCLEX. And this is great this is the PN version. And this is the RN version. Okay, mind you, this isn't the most recent. I just can't find it. It's in my other bag. But both of those are Saunders. Both of those have good content within the book of pretty much everything that you're going to need for NCLEX and throughout nursing school. It's just a great book. And then it's going to have an online section as well, which is probably my favorite part because it's the best way for you to practice those questions, whether, like I said, whether current or next gen. In fact, in the one in the current one, especially the most recently updated one, which was the newest version was released like in June or July or something like that. They have, in addition to current NCLEX questions, they also have like a section for next gen questions that you guys can look at this. I joined late. I didn't look at the time difference. Will this live be posted anywhere? It will be posted on YouTube, but hopefully sometime this week. But if not, it'll be posted next week. But yeah, this week it will be available definitely. What else was I saying? Yes. It's going to give you, see right here. It says thousands of the highest quality review questions, including alternate item formats and next generation NCLEX questions. Okay, so that's a great way to really expose yourself to the next generation style questions because, like I said, the content's going to be the same, but the way that they ask you is different. And that's something that you honestly need to practice. Because even I was going through it like, oh my God, girl, what? Why are you asking me this? A really good way to start building that clinical judgment, right, is to ask yourself why. With the current questions that you have, ask yourself why. All right? If y'all have ever came and participated with NCLEX Jeopardy, if you haven't before, now's the time to do it. Whether you're studying for the current or the next gen, because I go through the strategies that you need in order for you to pass both, okay? I've been doing this for 3 years, okay? I have helped over 35,000 people in nursing school and pass their NCLEX. I can't even tell you guys how many messages I get. Oh my God, thank you so much for your NCLEX Jeopardy. Thank you so much for your lives. You really helped me pass, blah, 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 blah. And that's because I really help you guys understand how to take these questions and not just, sell you guys pretty notes. No shade or anything like that. My notes are super pretty. Y'all know I am a very creative person. I am a visual learner. My study guides have to be perfection, okay? To make it like entertaining and stuff. But in addition to that, like I'm helping you guys, with different ways that you can actually remember the information, not just memorize, but really remember, how to comprehend it. Like remember why certain things go with what. Remember why you can't do other things. Just make it fun, make it entertaining so that it can at least stay in your mind longer and you can recall that quicker. Okay, whenever you have one of those questions where it's like, especially like a multiple, like a single response, multiple choice question, after you get your answer, ask yourself, why did I choose this answer? How did I come to this specific conclusion? Okay, so don't do that to me. I love the Saunders books. I only use that to study for NCLEX with online content and pass. Period. Same. And I used. This is the 8th edition. I think they just released like the 9th. Yeah, I think they just released like the 9th edition earlier, which I have as well. But I used NCLEX. I used Saunders back in 2014. Okay, whatever version that was, I used it back then. Okay, and I am telling you, taking practice questions is going to be a life hack when it comes to whether it's your nursing school exams. All right, whether it's for mental health, whether it's for, cardio, med surge, whatever, taking those practice questions they really help, okay? I'm taking my NCLEX in 2 weeks. Woo! I'm so excited for you. But I know it's also like, I know you're like a wreck. I know you're sleepy, hungry, tired, nervous, all that. You're going to do amazing. All right. Oh, I can't wait. I heart Diana. Girl, I cannot wait till in 2 weeks, in 2 days, you come back and be like, oh my God, Nurse Sam, my pen pass. Period. It's going to be I Heart Deanna, licensed practical nurse. Period. Okay? Speak positively. You know what to do. You know how to prepare. You got this, boo. Okay. Now, if you don't have access to maybe Saunders or anything like that, besides like doing like a not a Google review, but like a quick Google search of NCLEX style questions, you got to be careful with that, because sometimes like anybody with a blog just be like, oh, these are NCLEX style questions. They're not. So just make sure that you're researching what format you're using. They just said I have to take the NGN NCLEX. It's okay, boo. I'm be right there with y'all. I'm not taking it right there with y'all. But as for anything that I learned about the NCLEX, the next generation NCLEX, you guys will know. Okay, if there's a good resource that I find, you guys will know. Remember, this is my job. This is my full-time job. Even though I'm a licensed practical nurse and I have been so for 8 years, I have not done bedside in like 3 years, 2-3 years. I am 100% devoted to you guys and to making sure you guys are getting whatever information you need, whatever resources you need in order to feel supported, in order to feel seen and heard, whether you're an LPN, RN, whatever, throughout nursing school and as a new grad. Okay, my goal is to help you guys get in nursing school, stay in nursing school, and stay sane, graduate, and pass. Okay, that is my goal. So that includes obviously the current NCLEX and the next gen NCLEX too. Okay. Any suggestions on Pharm and Med-Surg HESI? I'm not sure what tips you mean. Like what specific tips? Learn your content and your strategy. Download NCLEX Jeopardy. Well, download the app, which is the NurseSam app, free to download, so you can play the free mobile game NCLEX Jeopardy. All right, that's another great way, like I said, to study and prepare for the NCLEX, whether that's the current or the new generation. All right, as we get closer to April 1st, 2023, all right, the number of current NCLEX resources and questions will start to dwindle. And then after April 1st, 2023, when everything switches over to the next gen, our NCLEX Jeopardy questions will be all next generation. All right, so I might as well call it next gen NCLEX Jeopardy. Well, that's how I'm gonna have to do it literally to differentiate between the two. But once again, content's the same. Okay, even if you don't have anything yet, because that's what this week is for. All right, even if you don't have much information yet on how to prepare, or figuring out what to expect, that's what I'm here for. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing this week. Okay, let me right, Tiffany Stoddard. Absolutely. I didn't have to take like HESI. I took ATI. Now, when it comes to ATI and HESI, it's like tomato. It's like Kaplan versus Hearst. Like, it's same thing, but just different ways of different companies, I guess. But if HESI is anything like how ATI was, we had our own like ATI books. We had our own ATI books for whatever course we were taking. So if it was pharmacology, we had a pharmacology ATI book. This is mental health. And so in order to prepare for those specific ATI tests that we had to take at the end of every course or semester, we had to specifically study the ATI. All right, that is my number one tip. So if ATI is anything like HESI when it comes to that, just like Lil Mama said, read your books. Read the rationale, take those practice questions specific to the HESI books. Okay. All right, so that ends tonight's first live schedule for the next gen NCLEX. All right, we went and we did an overview of the Next Gen NCLEX and what to expect, the different changes, and how to prepare. All right, if you guys if you haven't downloaded it yet, if you want a little, if you haven't downloaded our freebie yet, that is our 4-page guide, basically giving you, once again, everything that I pretty much talked about, the overview of what to expect and the changes within the Next Gen NCLEX. Okay. As the week goes on, we're going to be talking about different topics. Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to develop clinical judgments using the 6 NCJMM skills. Okay. We're really going to dive down into what those different skills are, what it means, how it's going to look on the Next Gen NCLEX. Like, it won't be anything obvious, because this is the NCLEX, so it'll never be anything obvious. How to break down those wordings and like phrases that the Next Gen NCLEX is going to be using to kind of let you know and indicate that this specific skill is being tested, so different strategies of how to answer it. Okay. Wednesday, we're going to be talking about the new NGN item types. So we're going to go through actual examples of like your matrix examples, your close examples, which is CLOZE, which is fill in the blank, basically. We're going to go in with our case study questions. Thursday is Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. That's a free day. Eat, be merry, get sleepy, all that great stuff. And then Friday, we're going to go through how to prepare for the Next Gen NCLEX, specifically with sample NGN practice questions. All right. It's basically going to be new Gen NCLEX Jeopardy. That's basically what's going to be it. Okay. We're going to go through how the case studies, the different answer types, and read the rationale and put our best foot forward, and so you can get a taste of what to expect and how these questions will look. Okay. Now, if you guys are just coming in, or if you just want to go back and refer to this video, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube, which is at the Nurse Sam TV. You can go to thenursesamtv.com just to go straight to the page, or you can just search me, the Nurse Sam, the Nurse Sam on YouTube. Okay, all my links are in my Beacons page. The link in my bio, sorry. All my social media links are in the link in my bio. Make sure you, like I said, subscribe to my YouTube so you can get this replay. Make sure you download the newest freebie, which is what to expect on the next generation NCLEX. And make sure you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to my TikTok live. It's free. But just subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the lives this week and moving forward, so you can really stay abreast on all the information that we're going to do and go over. Okie dokie. All right. Once again, if you have not downloaded the app, you missing out. You missing out, and you late. You late to the party, okay? A little birdie told me that for app users only, the app is called the Nurse Sam. It's available for iOS and Android, free of charge, free to download, all that great stuff. This is where you can play your NCLEX Jeopardy mobile. NCLEX Jeopardy mobile is exclusive to the Nurse Sam app. That's how you play the full 25 questions every week. Okay. And inside the app, like I said, a little birdie told me that Black Friday started for app users and people that download the app today already. So somebody asked me earlier today, or earlier in the live, for a coupon. Download the app and you'll see the Black Friday sale going on. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any questions, y'all know where to hit me up. Was this very beneficial to you guys? Did you guys learn a lot? How are you guys feeling about the Next Gen? Are you kind of like, somebody said they were nauseous earlier. But did this help you guys answer some questions and clear up some things? You kind of have a better feeling and understanding of what to expect on the Next Gen. Remember, we have from now until April to really get it together. So don't trip, chocolate chip. Awesome. This is very beneficial. Awesome. That makes me happy. All right. Like I said, tomorrow this continues. We're going to go into how to develop clinical judgment using the 6 NCJMM skills. Okay. Really, after tomorrow, you'll feel much better about, what to expect and like how you'll perform, because once you really understand what they're looking for, you'll realize the similarities between the current and the next gen NCLEX. But just understanding the question types will really like make the world of a difference. I'm sorry. Okay, so make sure you guys join me tomorrow, Tuesday. That's November 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Somebody said that they didn't notice the time difference. Make sure you guys are setting those alarms for 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Once again, this replay will be loaded onto YouTube within the next 2 weeks. But make sure you guys come to the live tutorings so you can ask your questions, get them answered. We do like a little Q&A thing throughout. So if you have any specific questions about the next gen NCLEX, coming to the lives is the best way to get those answered. All right. So thank y'all so much. And I will see y'all tomorrow at 7 for day 2 of our next gen NCLEX. All right. Y'all have a great night and see you tomorrow.